Before we get in the video, please like, make sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications, go ahead and leave a comment below, and click on the how you can help, which brings up the Family Friendly Game website and gives you lots of ideas how you can help us. Thank you.
Hi, Paul Burry, Family Friendly Gaming. This is FFG Politics on voting. So I've had this idea for a long time that I believe America needs to implement. My idea is voting is done majority per county. Okay? You might be like, what do you mean per county? So here's what I mean. Like when I lived in Washington State, you'd have, like, if I remember right, 37 counties. The majority in 3 counties would tell the other 34 what happened. Literally. So the way I'd like to see it, and that, trust me, that kind of oppression is horrible. I lived in it a long time. What I like to see is, they say, okay, you know what? The majority of the votes in a county win that county. Each county gets 1 vote, and the majority of the people who win, the majority of the counties win the state. Now, you would make sure you have to have an even number of counties, or you have to have some kind of a tiebreaker, and maybe the tiebreaker could be popular vote by the state, right? I can tell you from when I lived in Washington State, it was extremely messed up. Because you had all the power in, like, Seattle, Olympia, and they would tell the rest of the state what to do. It wasn't kosher, it wasn't cool, it wasn't fun. And if you go back to the Founding Fathers, the way the Founding Fathers defined voting, you had to be a landowner. Now, I know there's been amendments that have changed things over the centuries. I think we need to stay true to that concept of landowner, right? Because I think the problem is you have all of these people voting one direction and they're telling the rest of the state what to do, right? That's a major problem. And you got to look at, how do you define majority of the state? Because if the majority of the land, the state, right, isn't that the state, majority of the land, votes one way, and then the minority votes another way, why is it that the minority wins? Just because they have more people? Right? I mean, that's what, so you have people saying, I'm going to define the majority by people, not by the state, the land of the state, right? Because if you go and look at elections by county, you'll notice it's an absolute landslide for the Republicans, the red. And you have very few blue. And yet the blue get their way. So they're oppressing the majority of the states. Or in most of the states. And I think if you really legitimately wanted the full state to be represented, you would do it this way. Right? Now, I know, I guarantee you the Democrats would never allow this. They would do everything they could to fight this, because this idea would make them lose power, and they're all about their power, right? But I say, if you look at it, you can look at Washington State, you can look at Tennessee, you can look at lots of states. You'll notice, I think California might be the one exception where the majority of California might actually be blue by county, right? But I can tell you from Washington State that there were all these candidates. They went to Spokane, Olympia, Seattle. They didn't even bother to go to Tacoma and campaign. They just went to the 3 places that were going to vote for them. That's it. They left the rest of the state alone. They didn't even bother to campaign in the rest of the state. They're just like, we don't care about you. You know what? Hey, you over there in Eastern Washington who lives 6 hours away from Seattle, you're going to help us pay a tax for a new Mariners stadium. hey, you people who live 6 hours away, way out there in Eastern Washington, you're going to pay a tax for a new Seahawks stadium. You'll never use it, but we're going to tax you for it. Wasn't that so nice of them? Wasn't that nice of them to oppress people with taxation without representation? Because that's really what's happening. They're doing all this taxation without real representation. Because they're not getting represented from the rest of the state. You know? And that really does disenfranchise a lot of voters, and that's why a lot of voters don't wind up voting, is because they're like, my vote doesn't count. You know, the majority of our county goes one direction, and this is the direction we want our county to go, and then we don't get the representation. It's kind of messed up. So like I said, I would like to see it, and I understand some people are like, that would be a radical idea. Yeah, it would be. It would be if you actually had to win the majority of the state. And majority of the state, of course, being defined by the state, the land, right? Not just pockets of people in an overpopulated area that are just horrible for the environment. You ever notice that? These mega cities are horrible for the environment. They suck all these resources out from not only just their area, but other areas. They're not living in harmony with the land, yet they're out there telling you how much they care about the planet. But then they're supportive of some of policies and places that are totally the opposite of what they say. And so I'm kind of like, dude, stop. Spread out. Live in harmony. Right? See what it's like to live out in the country. See what it's like to live out in the rural areas. You know, totally different problems, totally different things to deal with. You know, if you have to sit there and go drive an hour to get to a Walmart, you might be like, you know what? We need to make sure that there isn't like 20 Walmarts in Seattle. Let's have one of them out here so these people can use it. Right? Like, why not? Why not think about the rural areas, right? Right now, in the United States of America, we have oppression of the majority of the landowners by a whole lot of renters who don't even comprehend what it's like to sit there and have to pay all the property taxes and, you know, all the other things. So I think there are serious issues that need to be addressed in how we vote. I doubt my idea will be ever implemented, but I wanted to throw this idea out there because I've always thought this would be a really cool idea. Majority of county, you win that county, you get one vote. You got 37 counties in a state. You win 34, you won the state because you won the majority of the state. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this topic. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!